goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Well, hello and welcome to a very sunny, albeit frigid.
Frigid, yes.
I'm sick of it! Thursday.
That voice, how I
didn't you miss it?
Yes.
Didn't you miss it?
I listened to the honking buses on 6th Avenue. Oh, Lynn!
The screeching tires.
You've morphed into a bus.
You know what's funny is when you live in New York and then you come back to a more bucolic setting, like when I lived in New York and then I would go visit my parents in Green Bay, I couldn't sleep.
Oh, me too. I agree. Well, even today. I mean, I always have to have the window open.
So you can hear the
noise. Something. Well, just it's lulling. I mean, you get those machines in hotels.
Yeah.
You hear wave
I call them the sound machines, right?
Or rain. That just sort of,
yeah. It's a white noise.
Right.
So the sound of the city becomes a kind of a white noise that you become used to, and the absence of it seems so weird.
Well, I was thought of it as, don't they say that babies get so used, like they tell babies or even baby animals, to put a clock or something in with them because the pulse of the heart and all that.
That's right, because
the bubbling of the stomach, they're used to all those ruminations.
Ruminations.
That was good.
So, anyway. Oh, yeah, I mean, because in New York, you think it's never quiet enough to hear crickets.
No.
And yet, you've got to believe there are crickets. There got to be crickets in New York. There's actually wild.
No, but aren't crickets sort of migratory? Or they only come at certain parts of the year and whatever? You don't always see them. I don't remember seeing them.
No. Crickets in the summer.
Oh, the summer. I've never heard a cricket in New York, but then who knows?
There it is, a song or a book title.
Yeah.
I never heard a cricket in New York.
Or certainly not those, what are they called? The 17-year cicadas?
Oh, yeah, the cicadas. Oh, that is deafening. It is literally a deafening sound.
Yeah, that's screeching.
And it's amazing. No, they're doing it with their wings.
But it's all saying, like, ravish me.
As far as we know, yes, that's what it is. Hey, baby. Hey, baby.
Maybe they should have come and visit Lawrence Welk.
Can we get through a show without mentioning that despicable man? Oh. Some things are better left unsaid. That's true. But
you certainly don't follow.
Yeah, I know. Who was that just said that?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, God. Tom Sokolowski's back. Yeah, he hadn't been here in a few weeks, and it was, oh, my God.
Mournful and sad.
It was. It was good. It was a very sort of heavy news period, so I made it without you.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
You are resourceful.
Okay, you. So the big news today, though, is Luke and versus UPMC. Yep. Actually, he said it'll be whoever the next mayor is who's really going to have to see this one through.
Yeah.
You know what the biggest obstacle is? Money, as usual. UPMC has, as we know, this is what it's all about, $100 gazillion million trillion dollars.
Yes.
They employ 100 million gazillion
employees,
attorneys.
Oh, that's true too. Right.
That's what I'm talking about. And they have lobbyists. And so they have friends in all the right places, which is why the law...
In all the right bedrooms.
Yeah, right. Which is why the law, as it exists, allows them to be a charity, legally a charity. It's akin to the same craziness of corporations being people.
Right, exactly.
This is when, because
and it's funny, on one level, one might say, oh, well, yes, and the nonprofits are churches and synagogues and mosques and museums and all that. But, if they make $460 million a year, which was, I think, a year or two ago, which was their profit for 2011, 2010, that's not a nonprofit to me, number one. And number two, that's why we have one of the highest for you and I, for our taxes in the country.
And here's what I want to suggest. Why can't there be some nuance in the definition of charity? So that... everybody's saying, oh, so then why just single out UPMC? Fine. Okay, let's have this sort of nuanced thing about if there are these certain behaviors, I'm sorry, you just don't,
Well, I remember when I was at the Carnegie system, we had some point when they were looking at these tax things again, and we had to fill out some paper because the Carnegie owned certain properties that they were storage facilities or what have you, and the big question was, what was a storage facility?
Part of your mission so that you didn't have to pay taxes on that property.
And my God, if they're going to ask them that, they certainly should ask UPMC. And also, what further exacerbates it in my mind, makes it, goddamn, whatever the word expletive I'm looking for, when you add to it all this to do with their war with Highmark.
Yeah.
And now saying Highmark, people have Highmark insurance of a certain
some can't even go to their
right. They won't. In other words, even if I wanted to pay you $200, I can't. They won't see you.
So here's one of the things that would exempt them. It seems to me from any designation as a charitable operation. It is the extraordinarily voracious kind of capitalistic, business-minded way they have gone about pushing other healthcare providers out of business, and how they have shut down facilities, and the mayor alluded to this, shut down facilities in poor neighborhoods, took out Southside Hospital, took out Braddock Hospital, and then put this God almighty, palace up in Monroeville, about 2 feet down from a large hospital that already served that area.
When I first moved here, in addition to that, every little Episcopalian, Catholic, Jewish hospital gone. Was just vacuumed up into this. Now, I remember I was telling someone when I was in New York, I had to see a doctor, and I was saying, UPMC medicine on that side, I would say, is wonderful. My doctors are all in a system because they have to be. Right. But very good, and you can bounce between, one doctor will send you to another. It's very good, but not at the cost of that kind of keeping the public at... in shackles.
Yeah.
Shackles.
Well, they operate in this, even if they were a for-profit business, you would marvel at their
chicanery.
I know, at their sort of voraciousness. Right? You would stand back and say, God, no, this is what Ayn Rand would get off.
Yeah, she would, right? Yes.
Yeah, Ayn Rand, UPMC is Ayn Rand's wet dream. Really?
Oh, now that should be every journalist. Pass it on. That should be on the front page tomorrow.
Well,
Lynn Cullen doth spake.
Yeah.
There endeth the lesson.
There it is. That's it. That's it.
Oh my God.
And yes, and you make the distinction, as I did yesterday, that we are not, our rage, our disgust is not directed at the fine doctors and nurses and other hardworking employees, many of whom are working for slave wages.
Right, exactly. They're not making the money.
Exactly right. And that's not them. It's the brains at the top that have lost sight of what they're about. What I thought was
very interesting is when the whole thing started, 2 years ago, with the insurance business between them and Highmark. And when they put down who was the board, I knew a few people who were on the board, but it turned out a number of people that I knew, some personally, some professionally in the world.
Sure.
And I was just surprised how in almost any other situation when things have happened at Pitt or at some organization, the Carnegie, what have you, there'd be some people who would be not necessarily renegades, but still might question
I've wondered that too.
List,
I agree.
No one would
not
speak
a peep.
Up.
Not a peep. It's like trying to hear a cricket
in New York.
Well,
behind
Aaron,
the bus.
And just to bring us back, Aaron has
what has Aaron
said there's an animated video and a lovely little book, children's book called The Cricket in Times Square.
Oh, how charming.
There you go.
Exactly.
What an audience. What an audience. Yeah, so everybody knows my total, I go bonkers when the subject of UPMC comes up. So here's what's going to happen. We do not have the citizens of Pittsburgh, in part impoverished by all of the tax-free charities that own the city's real estate. We don't have the money to out-lawyer them. We just
don't.
But
what the courts should do is, I'm no lawyer. No. But what this smacks of, in my very teeny knowledge of the law, is monopoly. They won't let certain airlines merge because it will be a monopoly.
I agree.
And if this ain't a monopoly, then I don't know what is.
Then what the hell's a monopoly?
Well, exactly.
I was talking to somebody who I serve on a state board with, and she hails from Erie, and UPMC just gobbled up Erie's hospital, and she now calls Erie, UPMC North. This is we're UPMCville. They're now UPMC North, and it's. I never saw it, but there was a horrible old movie called wasn't there The Fish That Ate Pittsburgh?
Don't know.
All right, Jess, that looks like a Google for
research.
And that's UPMC.
Yeah, exactly.
UPMC.
And it's a piranha. It's the fish.
Right.
The fish that saved Pittsburgh.
Saved. Then I think it's
the fish that saved
Let's
Pittsburgh.
drop that.
So that doesn't work anymore. And listen to this. So one of the big things that gets trotted out all the time is, how dare you? We are the ones who are underwriting the Pittsburgh Promise.
Yes, right.
Right. Okay, fine. Well, let me tell you again. Chump change for UPMC.
Yes, chump change. Right,
However, as it turns out, listen to this. Pittsburgh Public Schools are freaked by what Luke did yesterday. Because Pittsburgh Public Schools, another taxing entity, right? You pay a tax to the city and school district.
To educate our children.
Yes, indeed. So it turns out they're freaked by what the mayor has done because it could jeopardize, of course, the funding promised to them for the Pittsburgh Promise. And get this.
But haven't they also...
Get this. Under the promise, the district, Pittsburgh Schools, agreed it would never challenge UPMC's tax status or seek tax income.
Isn't that what you call glorious philanthropy?
Yes,
with
no strings attached. So I don't recall that ever being publicized before. No, here is the largesse of UPMC showering. I think of them as like,
Tammany Hall.
Right, showering people with, money. Crumbs from up on the here, and this is their big thing. We funded the Promise. Yeah, but what you didn't tell is you funded the Promise with your
gag order.
Yeah, with your hands squeezing the balls of the poor district under the table, saying, "Okay, we'll give you this money to make this happen, but don't you dare!
We'll geld you."
What kind of a charitable gift is that?
You said it, oh Queen.
I'm sorry. I just beyond belief.
No, it's true. Well, also, wasn't there something about a year ago where there was a kind of algorithm that, yes, they would pay this money, but it had to be concomitant with how much was being raised from other sorts. So they were slow to pay on the payment agenda, I thought.
Really? I don't.
Because it was sort of like, if you raise like $500,000, we'll give you $500,000, or whatever it was.
Matching kind of.
And I think because the rate of fundraising of money, especially in this climate, is not so easy. Mm-hmm. I think there was something like that, but maybe I'm wrong.
We have a call. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, you're talking about the school funding and stuff, and people don't realize it was Ronald Reagan's administration that slashed the federal dollars for school funding. And people thought, wow, that's great. My federal taxes are going to go down. But their local taxes gone up. Their property taxes went up. It's the same game they play, that shell game. The Republican Party does it every time. They move the shell and where the P is underneath.
That's right.
It's that same old baloney.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well
done.
Have a
good day.
You too.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, because the thing is, these bills have to be paid. I mean...
Well, the other thing, here is the standard, according to the most recent reading of what constitutes a tax-exempt charitable organization by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. It ruled last year, and it says that an organization, in order to have, this
nonprofit
exemption...
status.
Quote, must operate entirely free of profit motive. Now, you would seem, okay, slam dunk, we win. Okay, but you know the way the law is. And, quote, donate gratuitously a substantial portion of its services. Okay, my understanding is UPMC acknowledges that they deliver, something like 2% of their... Is that substantial?
I'm not sure the number.
Well, whatever. At any rate...
No, I think 15 would be.
That they're supposed to operate entirely free of profit motive? Well, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. And then, of course, they'll say, but we have to maintain, you have to, in some respects, run this as a business because you have to maintain.
No, sure.
Yeah, we
but
understand
then you build
that
hotels and hotels. In Palermo and other places.
Yeah, right. You close the hotel in Braddock and you open... Did I say hotel, too?
Yeah, you did, too.
Close the hospital in Braddock and you open one in Palermo.
Buongiorno.
What the?
I mean, yeah, it's...
Despicable.
Despicable.
They got more apologists out there, though, so, I mean, here we go. This is going to be... It's going to be ugly, but I've been wanting this fight for so long.
Oh, knowing the administration of that... there's going to be some real nasty stuff coming out.
You know what we should...
Oh, there'll be no more... pap smears given.
Yeah, right.
Cleveland for your pap smears.
It'll be ugly. It'll be ugly.
Ugh.
What is that, where you post something on the site and people fund it, the sort of indie fund? Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just do a Kickstarter
for a new hospital system.
No, to help.
We'll get Mickey Rooney. Let's build a hospital. Let's put up a stage.
I'm thinking as a legal fund.
Oh, that's actually a very interesting idea.
For the city.
Or get ACLU involved. Because it certainly is a civil liberties thing if they're going to slam medical possibilities of people having medical care. And
if we made this into a Kickstarter thing, money might come in from all over the place to help, and there might be to pay for attorneys beyond what the city would have available to them.
And I'm going to be join Lynn, and Lynn with one of her great grimaces, and then we'll have like a ... and down with what's his name?
Really,
Jeff Romoff.
Jeffrey Romoff.
That's actually a really brilliant idea, Lynn, I think.
Is it?
I think so. Because I guess enough people would say, "Hey, $50, $100 isn't going to hurt me," and and I think it would give a sense also. There's a certain point at which they're a grand enough company, and they can say, "Oh, we employ more people in the county than anyone else does," and that's maybe true.
Well, they do. I mean, they own us.
Right.
And it's true. All those people they employ, they pay taxes,
right.
And I'm sure that's what they think. Well, we're already offering.
But anyway, my point was, I think though that if there was like a tremendous groundswell, I mean, there's only so much that they can bloat about. I mean, if you have everyone against them. But the thing is, where it's frightening is that if we would say, let's all agree to go to Cleveland or go to West Penn or something, that couldn't work. And so they really have us by the cojones, as you were.
Well, I do go to
before.
West Penn, Allegheny.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I just couldn't. I mean, there are occasions. Well, I'll access a doctor, which I still can do at UPMC. But no, I really don't want to deal with
Good for you.
And as if what? Going to Allegheny General or West Penn means you're what?
Going to
getting
the toilets.
sex? Yeah, right. Not. They got great
they
doctors.
swing a raw chicken.
Yeah, right.
The doctors of the Hmong people.
Yeah, right. They have great doctors, great facilities, and they're not the evil gargantuan.
Wicked Witch of Steel Tower.
God. Can't stand them. Okay, well, that's it. And we've made our way almost to the third point of the hour. Third point? Yes. Do you know what I'm saying?
A third of the hour, or
20.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So it's time for just a little teeny
hiatus, a quiet
respite,
quietude, so we can hear the crickets.
That's about it. Right. Okay. An interlude of crickets, and we will return.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Go to BurgBargains.com for great deals on gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, museums, and shows. This week only, get discounts up to 50% for the Symphony, Opera, and City Theater. BurgBargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. BurgBargains.com.
This is the sound of a flat-screen television hurled off a building. Now the new bike your kid wants. These are the things you could have, all cast into oblivion. Because when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have bought with it. Use Energy Star light bulbs and appliances, and you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Lynn is just describing her modus operandi with the show, how she flings these topics in front of her co-host, and then he loves to see the reaction. Oh!
No, he always wants to know, so what are we talking about next? I say, no. Spontaneity is all.
Spontaneity, yes, exactly.
Yes. It's true.
We'll now disembowel a pig.
Jeez. I am going to alter subjects.
All right, please do.
I just have a few emails to catch up with here.
Okay.
I had opined about 1968 the other day. I forget why, but how horrific. What a year that was. Oh. I mean, for me, it was a life-changing year in every way. Because, I mean, I hit it at a particularly vulnerable time in my development. Mm-hmm. I was on my own. I was curious, interested, paying attention, and blown away by what I was witnessing. And I said, I mean, that year was unbelievable. And when I talked about my memories, Tom wrote from Murraysville, a couple of things I remember. after the King assassination.
All right.
Standing in my living room, watching the breaking report that King had been killed. It was just a static screen with a voiceover. A couple days later, while standing in our kitchen, I watched a tank rolling up Frankstown Avenue.
Ooh,
See, there were tanks. I wasn't here then, but there were tanks in the street. I was in Chicago.
Wow.
Where were you in 68?
Chicago.
Okay, I was in 68 in Chicago.
Yeah, well, I remember I was going to say, I had been accepted to the University of Chicago, which was right around the time of Martin Luther King, because wasn't it like April something, early April when he was shot? And I had already received the news I was going to the University of Chicago. And then that summer was the Chicago Convention.
Yes.
I remember sitting in my parents' home, our home, watching the
TV.
convention, and my parents saying, because they kept saying, like, oh, the SDS is here from the University of Chicago. My parents saying, what are we sending you to?
It was a tough time.
Oh, it was.
Oh, it was a tough time.
And, everything.
Oh, and...
You know, it's very funny. One more anecdote. You were allowed when you were a senior to drive. We had 2 cars, so I drove to school. Excuse me. And I remember then they announced Martin Luther King thing. So I remember they let us out early because the school between where many of us lived and where the school was, which is sort of just in the suburbs, there was a big black community.
And they were afraid there was going to be...
And I remember driving this road that I drove every day, but thinking somehow, like in this paranoia that they had built up in our heads, like, oh my God, people are going to be shooting at me and whatever,
nothing.
Nothing. But.
Although I recall, after King was assassinated, I don't know if it was immediately after, it might have been the next day or the day after, I remember standing on the roof of my building in Evanston and looking south, and you could see fire.
Oh, burnings, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's pretty far.
that's quite a distance.
That's quite a distance. I mean, we're looking. I was north of Chicago, and it wasn't the north part of Chicago that was burning. It was the southern.
Side,
and you could see that. And Tom remembers seeing. He drove to the hill to see the damage and what had happened, and he said there was a man walking just out in public with a shotgun. He said, every month in 68, something incredible happened. In January, the USS Pueblo was captured by the North Koreans. That was January. That started it. And in December of that year, the Pueblo was released. The crew was released. So the Pueblo began and ended
top and tail.
In 68. And
and it continued in 69 because 69 was the beginning of the Stonewall Rebellion with Vietnam. With gay liberation.
Rights. The thing is at that time, it appeared that everything was falling. Everything, all institutions, it seemed like absolute chaos.
But the exciting thing about
it was exciting as hell.
Because also with the deconstruction was the recombinant.
Right, and what was possible.
Yes, what was possible.
And so, and a lot of people, it's interesting, the 60s are such a, when they talk about the 60s, 68 is really where the 60s started. And the 60s went into into the 70s. But,
I would say it was the beginning, in the sense I used to say this about Warhol, but it's certainly true of everything else. It was like the fun 60s, the Beatles and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, but this
was I know, but that was up to November 22nd, 1963. And then, our beautiful, handsome president was shot down in this ghastly way.
We lost our innocence then.
We lost our innocence.
And then
it was just...
It just spiraled from there. But Tom says, well, somewhere in that year... I decided that anything, good or bad, was possible. So he said exactly what your reaction is. And he said, I also stopped being shocked by the news.
It's interesting. When you think about it, that's exactly when I was in college, 68 to 72.
Yeah.
That, 2 years later was Kent State.
Right.
And that was convulsive.
It was just one thing after the other. And if you were young and not radicalized, then what were you doing? I don't understand how you could not have been radicalized.
It was a very exciting period. I mean, because one in which we were being shaken down to the very roots of our being and beginning to find new policies and new ways of looking at society and religion and everything that was going to continue with us as it still does today. And those of us, as you were saying, you say, how could you not be changed? I think we weren't. I mean, we were then, and we haven't gone back because it was so potent. It was so absolutely potent. Because I think you were living in the best sense of the word, of that old expression, in the minute. You had to.
No, you
because
had
to. And you had to react.
It was a mind-blowing time. And rub it in, Margaret. Margaret writes, in 68, I was in diapers. Okay.
No, she was using diapers.
Oh, using diapers.
In them.
Yes, using them for what?
Well, that's true, too. Sex play.
So I always felt that I was extraordinarily lucky to live when I lived and to be formed by that. What a time to be young.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was not a great time to be a parent.
No, sure.
And I know my parents and I talked about it so much after.
Well, it was also, I remember, for a minor way for an individual, but the business of that was the time just in and there when the lottery for the draft.
Yeah.
And the numbers, and I remember I was 258.
Oh, aren't you lucky?
And a friend of mine was 2.
Oh, dear.
Well, he got out of it, but I remember it was funny because the deal was he got a medical.
No,
exam.
I know. You spent half your time. Every guy you knew. We would talk endlessly about your number and what you could possibly do. People did outrageous things.
Yeah, sure. Shot off a toe.
Shot off a toe.
I mean, really?
Took all kinds of drugs to make themselves ill, so that when they went in for their physical, they looked at them and thought they were. I mean, people didn't. But I have to tell you, that is why there was such an outpouring against that war. It's because we were all potentially, literally in it.
That's right.
And it's why the Iraq War, which celebrated its 10th anniversary this week, which is why there was not the same kind of, because nothing was asked of us. Well, there was no danger to any of us
and
or
half
our
of
children.
the people fighting were those companies like BlackRock or whatever.
Right. Well, and we privatized a lot of it.
Yes, exactly.
And we didn't ask anything of the citizenry, and that's how you get wars. You shouldn't fight.
But also the other part of it was, and I think this is important. Maybe it wouldn't have changed things as much as during Vietnam, but because under Bush, all of that, like you never saw the caskets coming home. You never saw really ghastly things.
Don't trouble your pretty little head.
Oh, but I just remember. I mean, those children running aflame with napalm, and that shot by the guy who executing. I mean, those are indelible images.
Yes.
I remember. I've said this to kids many times when I've lectured about the '60s. Sitting there, as many of us did, particularly in the Midwest, having early dinners and watching, Walter Cronkite.
The news, that's right.
Burning, flaming, and you're having your, egg parmesan.
Well, it was, and it's how, it's why I became a liberal more than anything else. Watching Walter, we would watch Walter and then eat dinner, but we would watch as a family, and it started in the earlier '60s with the civil rights protesters.
That's right.
There was no black population where I lived, none. We didn't have black people up in Green Bay. There weren't.
No,
except a few Lombardi brought in to play football.
Yeah,
that was it.
Right, sure.
Okay, so for me to see these scenes, I was so horrified. And then you follow that with Kennedy killed, and you follow that with Martin Luther King killed, and we're not even talking about Medgar Evers killed, and all the others killed, and Cheney and killed. And again, I ask, how do you not become, if you're paying attention, radicalized to a certain extent?
Yeah, because how could you be inured to any of that?
How could you look at that and not think it told you that what you had been taught your country was
not true?
Exactly. And that's what I felt it was. it was an awakening I didn't want because it was a betrayal.
Well,
I thought one nation under God with liberty and justice for all.
Right.
What? Obviously a lie. And I've been saying that pledge every day of my life as a student.
Yeah, exactly. No, it really was everything, or just, when you get down to it, not to make it silly, but, boys could have long hair, girls could have short hair, and things like that. But, of course, before that was, get to my barber, And it was just everything that you thought you knew or you were told, even if you didn't have a, terribly monstrous family. But, this is right and this is wrong,
It all was blown up.
It was all questioned. And then what do you...
And look what that meant for you and for me.
Yeah.
I mean, you as a gay person, me as a woman.
Right.
What did that mean? The world opened up.
Exactly.
The world was opened up. A world that, if it had not blown up in the 60s, would have constrained you.
I'd be a priest, and you'd be, and you'd have a bun.
I'd have a bun.
Those with a pencil. You'd be a librarian.
I would be such an unhappy person.
Oh, no, what you do? You'd be running a repertoire theater in Green Bay.
I don't know.
This week we're doing Little Women, and I'm playing Meg. No, not Meg. Who was the sort of manly? Joe. Yeah, Joe was the ballsy one. But
okay, now we got to catch up on emails again.
All right, good.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of 68 ones.
Susan writes, if the Pittsburgh Public Schools can't educate their students because they pull so much funding from the schools, what good is the promise? Even though the minimal GPA is only 2.0.
What do you say? We can't educate our kids.
They're
disgusting.
All right, Margaret. Did you? You're out of here. Hello? Oh, no, we need to read on air. Okay, I'm leaving. Sorry.
Yeah.
That should have been the subject line. Then I wouldn't have clicked on it. And David writes, you have about 68, worst year in American history, worse than 63 and worse than 2001, but ended with the White Album and Man Circling the Moon.
Boy,
that was 68 too.
But it's interesting that he adds sort of cultural thing. White Album.
And let me tell you how weird the White Album is so central to this week in my life. Here's why.
Tell me.
My son is home for spring break. Mm-hmm. He came home with my old copy of the White Album. I didn't know he had taken it. And he came home and was screaming at me for not having taken care of it. Look at this! And it's all dirty. And I said, this album, now I know, went from 68, it made how many moves, it was, played and replayed and this and that. The fact that I still have it. But there's an insert in the album that unfolds to a poster size. On the back of it are the lyrics of all the songs.
All right.
And on the front are all these pictures. But it has been out on my dining room table all week, and I've been just sort of dipping in and reading some of the lyrics. And then that album has just been sitting in front. I can't believe it. That was 68 too? What an extraordinary album. And my son and I have gotten into arguments about which is the best side. It's two records.
Right.
Oh my God.
Well, but also that and then Man Circling the Moon, artistic and scientific. I mean, whoever thought someone would circle the moon?
Let alone land on it.
Yeah, let alone land on it a few years later. I mean, that's it. So there was the fact of we were expanding in sort of horrible ways.
And incredible
ways.
It was,
and the two, I think, had to be pairs. Because you can't have... chaos only works in terms of en face with order. So you have to have the two together.
Well, so we end by quoting the great Charles Dickens.
It was the best of times.
It was the worst of times. There it is. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And he, of course, was writing about the period of the French Revolution. Mm-hmm. And that is true. A time of promise and a time of unbelievable horror.
Yeah.
So there was a revolution.
And for the same exact
It was like a
reasons.
revolution in '68.
Yeah,
right,
it was well, it was called that.
Yeah.
I mean, because those in power did not want to give it up. And those who didn't have it were pissed off for not having it for so many decades and generations. And they say, we're not going to, I'm mad as hell, we're not going to take it anymore.
And one of the cuts on that White Album is Revolution.
Oh, right, yeah.
Indeedy. All righty. Indeedy, all righty. What the?
So as we round into the next third, this has been nostalgia.
We're close. We're rounding because
nostalgia.
Okay, enough already. When we come back,
yes.
rather than looking back, I want to look way to the future.
Oh, okay, yes.
And that's always fun.
Yes,
because
of course.
I have an interesting little article about what the people who supposedly exist.
Think of such things.
What humanity
will be doing, et cetera, what
it might look like in 100 years. Because I'm always talking about that with all the, I think we'll be cyborgs by then.
I think we'll all have zebra stripes embedded in our arms.
Well, no, I think there'll be embeds, and I think, whatever.
So you want to go and buy an ice cream cone. Extra sprinkles. But also, when you go to the airport.
That's right.
You're being put in jail. You haven't paid your taxes.
How would you not think that's what's going to happen?
Yeah.
How would you not think that's what's going to happen?
Exactly.
So anyway, we'll be back. Cricket time.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Pittsburgh City Paper's annual music guide is available now. Pick up one today for an inside look at Pittsburgh's vibrant music scene, plus Madam Butterfly, Celtic Woman, and Mac Miller. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania, and on the web at pghcitypaper.com, and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a pep talk that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You can improve your future. Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and for free classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
Oh, good. I'd love to be right.
Oh, it's too much. I can't deal with that. Okay. Sorry.
Edit.
Edit. Sorry. Lest we forget, here's Joe has sent us some wonderful quotes from the war in Iraq. Barbara Bush saying, "Why should we hear about body bags and death? It's not relevant. So why should I waste my beautiful mind on something like that?" No, I thought that was about the... was that about the war? I thought that was about Katrina. I thought...
have no idea.
Are you sure what she was talking about there? I thought she was reacting to Katrina. Here it is. Regarding... excuse me. Yeah, and regarding the refugees that were bussed into Houston. She says, and so many of the people in the arena here, we're underprivileged anyway. So this is working very well for them.
I've always wanted to take those pearls of hers and stick them up her ass.
Now, just...
Oh, but she's so horrible.
And he's so sweet.
Yeah, he's so sweet. No,
Her husband is
talking
a
about the
soul,
galvanic Margaret Thatcher. She was that. No, she was a tough broad.
Yeah. Okay, so as promised, let me get my future thing.
Oh, the future, yes. Tomorrow belongs to us.
Okay. And actually, I don't even understand half of this stuff.
Oh.
Here's one little quickie that someone wrote. In 100 years, we will have gone through a dozen or so techno-social generations. Okay. Smartphones will give way to tablets, to then phablets, P-H-A-B, I don't know what that means, to wearables, to implantables, to swallowables, to replaceables, like replaceable eyeballs, to neosinus body nanofab systems, and that is translated as using mucus as a raw material to, I guess, create all kinds of energy.
Well, we talked about, didn't we, about the excrement, that if people who have
fecal matter, fecal transplants.
And they sort of, mucus must be the same thing.
But no, I think they're talking more about... Well, this reminds me of, I was talking to a scientist from CMU not too long ago, and oh, no, he wasn't. That's not who I was talking to. I was talking to a scientist from Northwestern not too long ago. This is when I was in Chicago. And he was working on figuring out how to get energy from plants in a way that we simply tap in to the energy of photosynthesis.
Right.
I mean, stop and think with that. That's what plants are. That's their energy system. That's how they're operating. Yeah. If we can figure out how to essentially, so you get your energy from
the air,
from Brussels sprouts. I don't know, from green things.
Yeah. No, but it's interesting. The swallowables, they already have people who swallow things.
You swallow cameras.
Yeah. Right.
You swallow cameras so rather than have an endoscopy or something, or they'll take a picture all the way down and out. And he said in all of this stuff, and he also says body rentals.
Oh, my God.
I can't even.
It's funny. You see all these crazy movies, and every time I go to the movie theater, there's always 40 trailers.
Right.
And 90% of them you say, don't go to that. I won't see that. But they're all about these sorts of things. So you have to believe, to some degree, and I don't think you have to be a crazy person, that in these UPMC, I'm sure that's where the money comes from, or in Washington, wherever, they have these androids that are doing things that we don't know anything about. And we won't know for 25 years, but already they're doing things, getting ready
And it's moving so quickly. So a large part of this article is about the changing in what's considered proper human behavior. And that keeps changing. And we were talking about that earlier in the week, that young people think it's rude if you say to them, what time is it? Because they're thinking,
really?
Don't you have a phone? I mean, everybody, there's no reason for anybody not to know certain things.
Well, but also the other thing is, on that same time, I remember once, where was it? I was at someone's house, and this kid was going to be late. He was running, and he was trying to decide what his outfit was going to be to meet a friend. And, his mother was saying, hey, you said you're going to meet at 7:30. I'll just call up. And so then his father said, be on time. And he said, well, in the old days, Dad, what did you do without time? He said, we were on time.
Oh, when you were running late?
You were on time.
Yeah, you were on time. And now because you don't have to be. Because you can text, I'm on my way.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I'm held up. That's right.
But part of that has to do, yes, sure, it's a great convenience. We all would agree with that. But it's also about manners. If you say you're going to meet someone, unless your mother drops dead on the kitchen floor, you're not late because you're changing your ballet slippers from pink to blue.
So, whereas now it would be considered good etiquette, I think, do not look at your phone at the dinner table.
Oh, that it just so annoys me.
Okay, but most people still don't get that.
Yeah. That, and the other thing, my pet peeve of the moment, it's been for some months, is, and in New York, I was in one very, very nice restaurant, not cheap either, and they came to me at the end there, still working on that? I just hate that expression. And I now will be very aggressive and say, sir, this is not a soup kitchen. My entree was $36. You do not say, still working on that. And it's gotten to the point where even this guy poor guy was Hispanic. I don't think he was illiterate in English. Like, are you still working? And it's even getting into non-English speakers. I can't bear it.
Well, I was somewhere just, Tuesday night? And there was no one else in the restaurant because we were eating very late. Mm-hmm. And twice a waiter came up and said, can I clear anything away? And, I grabbed for my plate. And and the second time I said, hey, look, I know you're trained to do that, but that's because you want the table to turn over. Look,
no one's here.
There's nobody here. Leave us alone.
Well, he was trying to say, I want to go home. That was the point.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And I said, I know you guys want to go home, but we
paid for this pork chop, and we're going to enjoy it.
We ended up actually saying, we did. We ended up leaving because I felt sorry for them all standing around waiting for us to go.
Well, but that's part of the business. If your residences are 1 till 10 at night, and you have a smile on your face.
Well, you're right. So anyway, so they're saying, okay, so now it might be proper etiquette to don't look at your phone at the dinner table, but in 70 years it might be do not replace your eyeball at the dinner table. Or don't reboot your neo-sinus system in church.
That's not bad. I'm getting a Chris Potter laugh. There was an episode years ago on All in the Family with, what was the guy, the black singer who was with all those Rat Pack
Sammy
people.
Davis Jr.
And he had a glass eye.
Yes, he did.
Taking the glass eye out. I still remember that.
Oh, God.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
For your information on yesterday's discussion, Officer Ken Rendy, involved in St. Patrick's Day possible taser incident, and he was also involved in the PNC Park Pirates game baton striking, and arresting YouTube video is the same office. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's not
a nice guy.
Yeah, no, you don't want to bump into Officer
but a dark
Rendy.
Night. Okay. And he had been forgiven for a couple of his altercations, hadn't he?
Right. Just beyond belief. Okay, so they're talking about how we'll all sort of be able to have our own reality and perception of things. He says this is like a super advanced version of Google Glasses, might allow anybody to essentially manipulate their reality in the everyday world. So, I mean, this is where I can't imagine a city street where not one of the 100 people around you is seeing and experiencing the same version of reality.
So I have my glasses on and I'm pretending I'm in Beirut?
I don't know, but I would argue that's already the case. I'm riding the bus today, and the guy in front of me is like this.
Yeah, right. Driving along.
No, he's listening. He's in his own space. I'm doing my thing. Somebody else is looking at their phone.
Right.
And in that regard, we already are creating.
Well, it's interesting. I sent this to. I should have sent it to you. You would have enjoyed it. There was a piece in the Slate. You know, the one of those.
Yeah.
And it was written about the fact that people who walk and take public transportation tend to be more liberal.
Oh, sure they do.
Than people who drive their own cars.
Because people who drive their own cars.
Well, that's it. And you have darkened glass. But here you have to, and to me, that's the whole thing when you were talking about the guy with the iPad or whatever, is that the whole point of walking on the street is to be enriched by it, but also to be aware if you hear someone screaming behind you, turn around and look. Whereas if you're listening to Sammy Davis Jr., you're not going to hear it. You may get run over by someone.
Right. And in fact, I just had dinner with a woman whose son was hit by a car.
For the same reason?
Badly hurt.
Oh.
Because he didn't hear it.
Yeah, it was in a bubble.
So, let's see what other thing. So, I mean, I can't.
But that's weird. Like, today I want to walk down, in Saint-Tropez in my bikini, even though it's cold like it is today in Pittsburgh. But I'll have my glasses on, and then she's thinking she's skiing in Novosibirsk, and this person thinks they're on the Champs-Elysees buying lingerie.
And it says here, I mean, it could be that we'll be able to. Okay, so I come in here every day, and Jess might say, "Oh, it's so cold in here,"
right?
And I'll say, "I'm hot,"
right?
And you'll be able to essentially create. Even in that instance, she'll be able to.
Well, what about those beds they've had for years? Where two people on a double bed, you can make one side firm or so. Hey, so you have a beam that comes down and it cools you off and warms her up. What was it? The holodeck on Star Trek?
Hologram?
No, the holodeck. You'd go there.
I don't know.
And you'd say I want to play pool with Jackie Gleason. In the Hustler. And you can push a thing and it takes you into the movie and you play pool. It's just all removed. I mean, to make a bridge back to what we were saying, whereas the 60s, and that sounds like an old fart, really forced you to be in the now.
Yes, they did.
This today is all about dampering you, putting what do you call those things? Soundproofing, smell-proofing, whatever,
well,
so that you're not in a city where other people live.
See, this is what scares me.
Yeah, really.
But on the other hand, they say that people will create different communities.
Well, that's
so there will
true.
be So there will be this ability to literally create virtual communities but here's the problem, with like-minded people.
Exactly.
So like we all you hang out on the internet in places where people who speak your language and are coming from where you're coming from.
Well, yes, but then that gets you into, that's true, and I do believe people morph and all that, but then you get yourself into a Manti Te'o with this man was playing.
Oh, there'll be more and more and
Palulu,
more of that.
or whatever her name was, and and she didn't even exist. But Manti Te'o was such a dumb lug that he believed it because she had the same ethos of his people and his view about this, that, and the other. And no, I really believe, because it's very funny in my field. People always say, "Oh, isn't it terrible?" People are now, like they're talking about the fact that the opera in New York, the Met, has gone down 15% in attendance. I mean, mostly because the tickets are so goddamn expensive. But you can, especially for people, we don't necessarily watch our board, but you can watch the TV things.
That's right.
And, say, oh, but it's not like, no, it's not exactly like being in the hall and hearing Maria Callas hit a high note. But, and that's the same thing people say, oh, that's you're standing in front of the painting, and that's how I've been taught. But you get to someone like Warhol, who deals so much with reproductive and that I think we're being trained to like the reproduction, like people who, when they go to a symphony concert or maybe even rock concert, if the rock concert isn't like that recording where they,
they're disappointed in the actual. Yeah, that's right.
That takes away that human business of originality in the moment.
Exactly right. Hello.
Hey guys, PJ from Greensburg.
Hi, PJ.
Hi.
So just imagine the amount, in what you're talking about there with those advances in technology, or progression in technology, maybe a better term. How much energy is going to be consumed through driving all of those devices?
You mean, but where will that energy be coming from?
Well, and that's why it refers back to what you were talking about earlier with the biomass, creating algae and plants, right, and using their energy directly from that. But imagine if that power source were to go out, what a rude awakening it would be 50 years from now to all those people walking around in their own reality.
Well, that's it. I mean, in some of these TV shows which play to this, I love trash TV, is that what happens, like when we're so used to depending on gimmicks and robots, whatever, that, as he's saying, the power goes out for whatever reason, and then no one knows how to cut down a tree with a machete.
That's right.
And it's not to say we have to have that experience, but it is an issue. But I was just going to say, PJ, that, in terms of power and that, now that they're able to make these nano chips that are so teeny that have tons of energy in them, that maybe that part won't be a problem. That we can
diminutize.
Yes,
there it is.
That, I don't know. But I do think that notion is, once we've gotten so used to things where we're just being assisted at every level, not only do we not have the physical capabilities, strength, dexterity, but we don't have the emotional and intellectual.
There you go.
You're dumped in the forest.
And just what an ugly reality it will be when all the lights go, when the power, if it does go out, because no one is going to have to see what things actually look like.
Mm-hmm.
It would just,
it's like Plato's cave.
Here's the thing: we'll all be dead, so we need trouble.
About that.
You think you're going to see some of this?
Maybe
stuff?
not all of it, but I mean, hopefully I have 25 years more to live, 30 years to live. Well,
no, it's going to be Tom's brain and some robot.
But I could just see, as if we were sitting here, it would be Jess and Lynn and I, and we'll each have our own globe, like little old ladies have with China dolls, and it'll just be these big unctuous brains with Lynn's earrings and my glasses,
Oh, God help us. Hey, PJ, thanks.
I'll see you guys. Thanks.
Okay, right. They do say that a lot of these futurists thinks that we already are slowing aging down, and we'll even be able to reverse it, and people will definitely live a lot longer, or they will choose not to. And there was one futurist who said something about how you could take a vacation sort of from life by sort of checking, essentially being dead for a while and then coming back.
Oh, that's sort of neat.
Yeah, like I'm taking a year off, you know? And then come back. Also, here's another little one.
Well, that's sort of like
we'll be backing up our brains.
What was her name? Snow White. Not Snow White.
Right.
Sleeping Beauty.
Or Sleeping Beauty. They both. Okay, so backing up our brains on a moment-to-moment basis, so that all memory will be banked, like on the cloud, so that. Geez, that'd be nice in terms of, because I can't ever remember anything. Right. But from your earliest life, you would be doing that. You would further, it says, transferring or copying a person's brain, including their consciousness and mind, onto computational systems will become a trend. At this juncture, it will be optimal for a person to coexist in real time in the physical world and within simulations, virtual environments.
Well, what was that movie? Was that just
there's
the movie?
Plenty of them like
Who did that thing where they would go in and out? They had phones. Or was it The Matrix?
It's The Matrix.
The Matrix was the main one. And that, I mean, it's...
Whew. Well, I mean, obviously, these futurists are saying that everything you've seen in science fiction is, in fact, possible.
Oh, yeah. When you go back to the 20s or 1984,
and you look what they thought. We're already
30
there.
Years past
That's right. So, I mean, incredibly fascinating, but I two-edged sword, that's all I got to say. But to me,
what we were talking about, that's something I want to go back to briefly, is that business of what is brilliant about humanity is through our spirit and our soul and our mind and our memory, that we can be so ingenious. Just think about how it's human minds, aided by machines, of course, human minds who have gotten us to be able to do all this stuff potentially.
Well, that's right.
And to think that because of it, we can grow lazy and we're not going to be as creative a society as we've been in the past.
Right. I was saying to my son the other day, what will legs be good for? Because, I mean, younger, they don't move.
Gotta work out.
See, but you have to work out. We have to work out because
people
didn't used to have to work out.
That's true.
You have to work out because, unfortunately, we still have these bodies. Right. And because we already don't use them as they were meant to be used. I mean, I've always thought the funniest thing is people driving their car to a gym and then getting on a treadmill.
Yeah, right. While, drinking a big Slurpee diet soda in the car.
Right. I mean,
and some McNuggets.
It's so odd.
No, it really is.
Just being alive used to work your body as it needed to be worked.
Or what was it, the expression my mother always used to use in when you'd walk someplace, they'd say, "How you going? Shanks mare." Had you ever heard that?
No.
Yeah, Shanks Mare.
What does that mean?
I don't know where it means. I walk there. In other words, I'm taking the subway, I'm taking a train. No, Shanks Mare.
I mean, I'm walking.
Yeah. It was a 40s expression from something.
Huh. Okay.
Get out and shank your mare. It's the end of Lynn Cullen. Requiescat in pace.
Okay, and just one other quick little thing. It's just a news item apropos of nothing we've been talking about.
Okay.
But the new chairman of the Subcommittee on Climate Change in the United States
Washington,
of America is Representative Chris Stewart.
From?
Utah.
Oh.
And
Party.
He wants to dissolve the Environmental Protection Agency.
Okay, Republican.
And he is not, quote, this is his quote, "I'm not as convinced as a lot of people are that climate change is the threat we think it is." Okay, this is the guy who's heading the climate change committee.
Enjoy your barrel and your hole in the sand, doofus.
Yeah. It's amazing to have these Neanderthals still in positions of power when we're talking about this extraordinary...
I mean, when you almost wish them to say, The reason I'm doing this is all of my supporters and everyone who gives me money under the table is a big business, and they get screwed if we have climate.
At least tell
be
us
honest.
the truth. Yeah, tell us the truth. So
and if
here,
you paid me off, I'd go with,
Okay, this guy is, by the way, he before he got into Congress he was known as an author. Not by
no
you or
one
me.
is an author. That's a great expression. He was once known as an author. Now we know he's just a jerk.
Now he's known as an idiot. No, but you would, as an author, you would think he was an idiot too.
Right.
He actually wrote a six-volume series called Great and Terrible. In his series, an agent of Satan sets off electromagnetic pulses that throw Earth into chaos. This is a big favorite, by the way, his books of Glenn Beck, who compared them to the rapture epic Left Behind.
Oh, dear.
That is your, ladies and gentlemen, new head of America's subcommittee on climate change.
Now, will you get into that simply by seniority? Or would he be appointed?
No, he's not even that senior. He was just appointed by he would have been appointed by Boehner.
Yeah, by Boehner.
Or whoever does it, maybe Cantor.
I just read something yesterday, because I never listened to Glenn Beck, but that his is that term right? Sobriquet for the president is that man.
Sobriquet, yeah. I don't know.
I
don't know.
It's mostly he says that man did this. That man.
Well, that's lame. I mean, tame and lame, and it's all those things. Well, I think we're done.
I know.
Jess, is that guy coming by tomorrow on the? So tomorrow, I had brought up there was a fascinating thing in the Post-Gazette a few Sundays ago about making an incredible park on the top of the U.S. Steel building. It turns out that is the largest, what did we say? The largest flat rooftop in the world.
Really? Wow. Especially because most of the buildings sort of
there's always, and you look around at the roofs here, there's things on them. That is apparently a full acre. And the view from out there, and there's been people at CMU and the foundations have gotten into. There's actually been a design created of what it could be, and everybody's excited about it.
I think they should have a shooting range, and it's sort of you get to whenever you want to shoot Jeff Romoff because his office right at the top.
This is why at the end of the show there's this disclaimer that comes on that says the views. What does it say? What does it say? The views expressed on this program are not necessarily
kill my landlord, kill my... Who was that? Was that Saturday Night Live?
I don't know.
It was Eddie Murphy, I think.
We don't know. Hey, great to have Yin's back.
Oh, thank you. And
speaking of that, I have one question. I was getting on the Parkway at Murray Avenue, heading downtown. Okay? And the big sign there, that's where it says Homestead and Monroeville, Homestead. Right. And then it says Pittsburgh. And I thought, wait a minute. I'm in Pittsburgh. What? I'm in Pittsburgh. Why would that sign say Pittsburgh that way? I'm in it.
You're in it. You're not on a.
I shouldn't say Pittsburgh. And if you were a visitor and you saw that, you would think, what?
But my relative says they live in Pittsburgh.
Right. I thought I was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
No, that should say downtown.
Downtown, right.
I just wanted to say that.
Well, those signs are very funny because I remember when they were doing new signs for the North Shore.
And the business. Who knew?
Well, no. But then it was like. I remember the Science Center was able to get one, but they wouldn't put one up that said the Warhol Museum. And I couldn't remember. There was some craziness about it, but yeah. But so they are something very
signage is an important thing.
Oh, it is. Well, and don't we have to thank partly Sylvia Maslow for that?
She actually finally got some street signs up. Yeah. Yes, and somebody found out I didn't know I lived on Climax Way. What fun! Okay, that's the end of that. Tomorrow we will talk a little bit with David Baer about that idea, and we'll also talk about other stuff. He'll come by and spend a few minutes with us, and I'm looking forward to it.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo.
And he is...
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.